Video games can often have such satisfying moments that the chase for more becomes irresistible. Hearing the ping of a headshot, reaching the highest combo, narrowly crossing the finish line in first, and even a little marble perfectly gliding along a curve of pegs, lighting them up and watching them disappear. Few games have ever been able to capture the magic of the latter. Of course, I'm being dramatic, but there is an itch that has gone unscratched for far too long. It's been over 12 years since the release of PopCap's hit peg poppin' sequel, Peggle 2. 12 long, unanswered years. There has been a mobile title released since then, the friend-begging microtransaction-filled type. While grateful for any drop from the untapped Peggle barrel, there is still a thirst for the next fully realized, self-contained Peggle adventure. For anyone unfamiliar with Peggle, it is a puzzle game inspired by pachinko and pinball machines, as well as Breakout, and created by the developers of the puzzle arcade phenomenon PopCap. You may be familiar with some of their other work, including Bejeweled, Zuma, and Plants vs. Zombies. Peggle fits right in with PopCap's arcadey puzzle games that found so much love in the early 2000s. It's a level-based campaign pits you against countless levels where you aim a little, shiny marble at 180 degrees facing down at colorful pegs deliberately placed, with the goal of hitting all the red pegs before running out of your set number of marbles granted at the beginning of each level. With over 100 diverse levels and some nifty game-modifying special abilities, Peggle is sure to keep you entertained for seemingly ever. With the premise as simple yet addictive as Peggle and a lack of content to fuel that addiction, the proverbial barrel was bound to be tapped. Enter the latest contender to enter the ring. Indie developer Magneticlake intends to debut its development journey with Paris, Transylvania. Unmistakably influenced by PopCap's Peggle, Magneticlake plans to bring new life to the Peggle-like arcade game, but with a twist. After being deprived of a Peggle-like experience for so long, surely a new experience would only need to add new levels to satisfy my needs, keeping it simple and familiar. Magneticlake seems to think differently. Paris, Transylvania is not a simple spiritual successor to Peggle, but rather an entirely new reinvention of the genre, incorporating modern popular video game elements such as roguelike and deck building. Currently, a demo for Paris, Transylvania is available on Steam, and with the endless replayability of the game's first world, I got to spend several hours playing this now hotly anticipated game. Right from the beginning, two things are immediately apparent. This is not your average Peggle experience, and Magneticlake is heavily inspired by other popular titles. While the core of the game is still focused on that satisfying peg-popping element, much of the structure of the game is surrounded by that player autonomy and RNG elements that are so resonant with roguelike and card-building games, most notably Slay the Spire. Paris, Transylvania has Slay the Spire written all over it. Rather than simply completing a level by eliminating all the red pegs and moving on to the next, Paris, Transylvania will have you battling enemies. Only by defeating them all will you move on to the next. When starting a level, you'll be met with a deck, starting hand, and a few enemies to face off, and a board full of pegs. 5 cards will leave your deck and go into your hand, acting as unique marbles, for you to strategically pick from to use as either as an attack on the enemy or a shield for yourself. After selecting a card, you aim for some pegs and watch the numbers rise. You see, while some cards deliver direct damage or shield, most cards deal damage or gain shield for every peg your card's marble hits along its journey before reaching its end at the pit below. For example, one of the first cards you get is the red apple. While the card won't deal any damage directly, it will rack up 10 hit points for every peg it hits. Once a marble is done bouncing across the board, the total hit points occurred will then be subtracted from one enemy's total HP and shield. The old shield card will grant you 3+ shield for every peg you hit. Every card is different, including its cost. Every round you have 3 turns with 3 mana per round, or at least early on. While you have 3 turns to make decisions, some more powerful cards will cost more, leaving you with only 1 or even 0 mana after just 1 turn. At the end of your round, it becomes every enemy on screen's turn to launch a follow-up attack on you. Therefore, it's up to you to strategically decide what to attack with and when to prepare your defense and build your shield. You need to know when and where on the board to play your cards, especially at the end of your round, when unused cards enter your discard pile. just like in Slay the Spire. But remember, these are not just cards we're battling with. Your card choices need to be considered in light of the available pegs on the board, as the pegs will disappear the more you play on the board. Do you use a heavier attack when the board is less filled, making every hit more impactful? Or vice versa, do you use a lighter attack when more pegs are available, allowing for a chance for your damage to rack up more? Will it be promising enough to use a much needed shield on your last turn of the round when the board is more barren? Every decision needs to be taken into consideration multiple turns ahead, but with the often unpredictable bounce of a peg, your strategy can and will often be rendered useless. Thankfully, the extra element of relics will help grow your character's ability, allowing you to bring more than just cards to each battle. This added roguelike element keeps the game evolving and rewarding as you earn more after boss fights. The same goes for cards. Unlocking more cards not only evokes a childlike curiosity, but it also encourages you to often retool your strategy on the fly. And as I said before, there are a lot of cards. Paris Transylvania also includes a fun and exciting twist on its own formula in the form of boss fights. Rather than a normal level where your ball will just fall endlessly into the pit below, boss levels offer an extra layer of creativity by leaning more heavily into the breakout and pinball influence. What is a boss battle if not just an enemy with more hit points? The direction Magneticlake takes with boss encounters is, rather than making combat drag on longer, chipping away at their larger health bar, they instead added breakout bumper or pinball bumpers to give a single shot, a single card, big or small, a greater chance of making a bigger impact by allowing the players to be more in control. It's a small but refreshing element that helps break up the status quo, and it had me looking forward to these encounters every time. For all the elements that feel so promising, Paris Transylvania and Magneticlake still face the greatest obstacle of all: gamers. If you're not as involved in the community bubble, you can easily pass by, download the game, and have a great time. For others, seeing a game like this, they recognize the influence and write off the creative passion as mere copying. While I mentioned that true Peggle has been dormant for over a decade, other inspired and eager creators, much like Magneticlake, have also taken matters into their own hands. Most notably, a Canadian studio, Red Nexus Games, and their Peggle-like game, Peggle-like. Released in late 2024, Peggle introduces roguelike and deck building mechanics into its interpretation of the Peggle franchise. I don't need to explain how time works for you in the gaming audience to understand that Peggle did it first. This creates sort of a pseudo-parallel, as after viewing the comments on Paris Transylvania's TikTok page, it seems fans of Peggle are less than impressed, to put it nicely. Magneticlake is very self-aware of its own creations' inspirations, as the Steam page for Paris Transylvania nods to inspirations such as Peggle, Slay the Spire, and even Peggle. The question then is whether the criticism holds any merit, or whether gamers have once again proven just how ungrateful they can be. While I've always believed the latter to be true, it does raise concerns about how, or whether, Magneticlake's Peggle-like will make waves or be stuck in the shadows of its inspirations. Fortunately for Magneticlake, what they may lack in originality, they certainly make up for in art. Sporting a gothic cartoon art style, Paris Transylvania is sure to keep you visually dazzled, especially with its vast and detailed cards and relics for you to collect on your journey. As for this Peggle-popping gamer, Paris Transylvania seems to be the makings for an experience that is sure to have me kicking up my feet on the couch, booting up my Steam Deck, and losing countless nights aiming for the best build. While currently no release date is set, only a 26 promise, you can be sure that I will be there day one. For fans of Peggle, Slay the Spire, and even Peggle, I highly encourage all of you to keep this on your radar, or be like me and keep playing the demo over and over.